Hi, welcome to my day. So I put all the boys to bed and Miles just fell asleep. Snuggling with me. There he is. But I'm thinking the past couple days about some things I learned at camp. So we went to Johnny and Friends family retreat last week. And if you've never heard of Johnny and Friends, you should look it up. But it's an organization that Johnny is a woman who is a quadriplegic after an accident, but she has an amazing story and she helps people with disabilities and families who are affected by a disability. And we went to one of her family retreats where they have staff and short-term missionaries are the volunteers, and they are buddies to all of the kids who are 11 and under, and they just minister and do camp activities and super, super fun things, and are great to do things with the kids who have disabilities. And so anyways, it's a great, great organization, and we had a lot of fun, and the parents got to hang out with each other, and women's ministry and men's ministry. And if you ever want to go on a short-term mission trip, that is an amazing one to go to. So I know that I was greatly blessed by all the buddies my kids had and the other people who worked there doing different things, and it was really neat. I don't want to cry yet. So anyways, we were in one of our women's times. We were, the theme of the week was a verse about how God is our anchor and brings us through things, and He's our anchor for our soul. We talked about in one of our women's breakouts, where we met in a small group, how God brought us through hard times, and I was just thinking about how there are hard times and just the different things we've gone through with this sweet kid here. And in my head, if I imagined the different scenarios, how I picture myself falling apart and crying and weeping and just being distraught. But when it actually happens, I am way more well put together and handle it better than I ever anticipate that I would have. Even when Levi was born early, he was born 7 weeks early, and when my water broke, I had thought about it because he was early and was in the NICU, and I knew that if Levi came early, I just imagined myself being like, oh no, he's going to be in the NICU for so long because he's so early. But when it happened, I kept it together, and I was just kind of like, well, he's early. We're going to be in the NICU for a while. And of course I was sad and it was difficult, but I was able to keep it together. But so I was sitting there thinking about, people telling their different stories about how God gave them strength to get through hard things. And I was thinking about the times that Miles had seizures and had to be taken to the hospital. I guess that was only one time, but like when he was born, and the second day after we had him is when they took him to the nursery so I could take a shower and so Dave could have coffee with his grandmother. And while he was in the nursery, they noticed him having seizures, and that's when they took him to the NICU. I got out of the shower and Dave came back and he said, they're taking Miles to the NICU. They noticed he was having seizures, and so that's when everything kind of went downhill from there. It's not really what you anticipate happening, but So anyways, he was born on a Wednesday, and the Sunday is when we had gone home at that point. And Sunday is when they called us and told us they were transferring him to a different hospital in Hershey because they couldn't quite care for his needs there and they couldn't figure out what was going on. They didn't have an infant MRI at the hospital we were at. So we went in and I got to ride in the ambulance with them. And Dave drove the car. Sorry, I was trying to remember. And then, anyways, so we got there and they took him and I was thinking of the time when he was in preschool and he had a seizure. I heard him having a seizure at night, and I had to take him to the hospital because I said if he has a seizure for more than 3 minutes, then you need to take him to the hospital. So his seizures weren't stopping. So I loaded the kids up in the car, and his body's really tight, and so I kind of count on that to lift him, and his body was really pretty limp, and so it was a lot different in lifting him. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I took him into our local hospital, LGH, and his eyes were just, it was really, really crazy. I don't know if it was the medicine they gave him when he got there or if it was the seizure, but so I had my mom come and I had to call her and to come meet me at the ER to get the other kids. And hey buddy. And so once they got him under control and Mom took the kids, they had to transfer him to Hershey, but there weren't any ambulance available. So they had to take him in the helicopter. And there wasn't any room for me. Oh my goodness, but hold on, I might need to put him to bed. There wasn't any room in the helicopter. So I had to drive my car and follow them to Hershey. And I wasn't fully confident I could get there. And in my mental state of being in panic, I was a mess driving the whole way out there. It's about a half an hour drive from where we are. And I was trying to follow the GPS, and it took me a different route than I'm used to. And I just kind of, it was an emotional wreck. But anyways, we had to, sorry, my camera. Miles. Okay, let me put him to bed. Okay, so Miles is in bed now. Sorry. So anyways, I had to follow the helicopter. It was very stressful because I was worried about Miles and it was emotional. I kept it together enough to drive, but I got there and I just didn't know where they took him. And so I had to wait, and I just walked into the first door I found because I didn't know where to go. And I walked into the first door I found, and then I had to go to a desk and trying to not sob, trying to not cry. I said, they just brought my son in. He had a seizure. I don't know where they're going. Can you tell me where I need to be? And then I had to find it. And it was a big hospital, but and then I had to wait till they got him settled in his room till I could go see him. And just being apart from your child when they're in a medical emergency and you don't know what's happening, it was just hard to walk down the hallway to get to that part of the hospital. And so anyways, after a couple of days, he was fine, and then we came home. It was a breakthrough seizure. We don't know why or how or whatever, but anyways, for years after that, anytime I saw a helicopter, I would start to cry. Not terrible crying, but I would get choked up and would cry, and I couldn't figure it out until just a year or two ago. I finally realized it was because of that that incident, that I would cry every time I saw a helicopter. And if I ever walked down a certain hallway at this hospital, I would start to tear up, even though like there was nothing emotional going on in me at that moment. It was just an emotional response to a memory that I had. So anyways, I had to pray about the whole helicopter thing, and now it doesn't happen anymore, but I had to work through that. But I, being in the hospital and walking to his room, even to go get food or whatever, just seeing the like it's a different culture, like people who are in these rooms and their kids are sick, and when he had surgery and he was in there, it's just such a different world. Like if you don't have a sick kid, you don't ever like realize all these people in this place and the unknowns and the emotional like worry, and it's just hard to think of all these different people, and it's their children. So I'm a little off topic now, but it's definitely a different culture. It's a different world, kind of, even in the waiting room when he had surgery on his muscles and his legs, just looking around at all the people who are waiting for their children to come out of surgery for different things. And some are not as touch and go as others, but some have been in there for hours just waiting to hear about how their child is. Anyways, I forget what I was talking about. Oh, so God gives us strength. So it's interesting this is a long movie, I'm sorry. It's interesting. People will say, trying to make you feel good. They'll say stuff like, God doesn't give you more than you can handle, or God gave you a special needs child because you're so strong, or God knew what he was doing, and he, and God's in control. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't cause bad things to happen. Let me say that. God does not cause the disabilities in our children. He doesn't. That would be against his character. God is good, and these are, he wants us to be whole and healthy and, be the way he's created us to be. So I think that, God does give us strength and he does give us peace. And I think you just do what you have to do. I don't know that I'm stronger than anyone else. I have my moments where things are hard. If I'm being super vulnerable, it happens. I don't really record it, and I'm a bit of a mess after a long day with lots of children, but when we rest in him, I don't know how anyone can handle this life without God on your side, without, that peace that he brings, that supernatural peace. I don't know how people do it without that. But he does hold me, and he does keep me moving on, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't think he gave me a special needs child because he knew I could handle it. I think, we step up when we have to, and he's still good, and he still is in control, and he gives me peace and joy and all the things. I also can grieve the expectation of having all able-bodied, typical children, and he is still good, and he loves Miles, and Miles has a purpose too. He's a sweet kid. And we still pray that he will be healed and it'll be good. But anyways, I don't know if I touched on the main topic that I started out at. But yeah, God is an anchor to my soul. So even when there's storms above the water and it's hard and I'm emotionally tired and, all the things, he is still all the things that he was before. And I still love Miles. He's still my son. And I get tired too, but that's okay. God gives me rest. I guess that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. Sorry I cried and I'm sniffing. But I want to be real with you. Just talking about how God's in control and gives me peace even when things I would imagine I would fall apart with. He helps me keep it together, and then when I can be weak, I am weak and I cry, and it's okay. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be sad. You just can't stay there. So yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'm still working on not saying and in any way so much. God made you on purpose, and you're important, and I'm glad you're here. Share your smile with others today. Thanks for watching.